The gasoline engine is not in great demand among motorists. Perhaps that is why the characteristic problems have not been identified, except for too much fuel consumption of up to 20 liters per 100 km. The diesel engine is a joint development of Ford and the Peugeot Citroën Alliance. This power unit with proper maintenance will last 500,000 km or more, but despite this, it has enough shortcomings. So in particular, even with smaller runs, carbon deposits appear on the EGR exhaust gas recirculation valves, which over time leads to their failure. The main signs of the need to clean or replace the valves are the deterioration of the dynamic performance of the engine and difficult starting. Often, the owners blame the reliability of the EGR valve cooler. Also, there are frequent cases of failure in the injection pump and the submersible fuel pump. Over time, the manufacturer upgraded both pumps, after which they became much more reliable. It is not uncommon for oil to be squeezed out through the front crankshaft oil seal. It happens so quickly that often the car reaches the service without oil and with a knocking engine. The main reason is the incorrect operation of the oil pump. Over time, the manufacturer upgraded this unit. Also, systemic disadvantages include turning the crankshaft liners, malfunction of the exhaust system bypass pipe, oil temperature sensor and crank mechanism. Fuel injectors are sensitive to fuel quality, and if refueling with low-quality diesel fuel is avoided, they will last 100–120,000 km. Glow plugs have the same resource. One of the advantages of this motor is the resource of the turbine. With proper operation, it will last more than 100,000 km, but in the event of a breakdown, you will have to fork out. This power unit has a fairly large appetite for a diesel engine, on average of 14 liters in the city. But thanks to the considerable volume of the tank, 85 liters, it is possible to avoid frequent visits to the gas station. Land Rover Discovery III can be equipped with a 6-speed manual and automatic transmission with the same number of gears. As operating experience has shown, mechanics has proven itself best in terms of reliability. An automatic transmission after 130,000 km may experience jerks and jerks when shifting gears and driving in a traffic jam. Often resetting errors in the transmission control unit helps to fix the problem, but if this does not help, the torque converter will need to be replaced. If you constantly use the car as a full-fledged CUV, problems with all-wheel drive may begin. The fact is that the central clutches are very afraid of heavy loads and overheating. As a result, with constant slippage, the clutches wear out quickly, which subsequently leads to costly transmission repairs. If the rear differential lock has failed, the servo motor of its drive is probably to blame. Occasionally, there are cases of damage to the drive shaft, its support and the front differential. To extend the life of the transmission, gearbox and transfer case, it is recommended to change the oil and filter in them at least once every 80,000 km. The main difference between the third-generation Discovery and its predecessors is the presence of a fully independent suspension with the ability to change the clearance. With this innovation, the manufacturer has significantly improved the ride, handling and cross-country ability of the car. Despite the fact that air billows are protected by metal casings, problems with them are a fairly common phenomenon. Due to the unfortunate location of the compressor near the rear left wheel, very often inexperienced service station employees confuse it with a jack support. There are cars with conventional suspension, but they are rarity in the secondary market. The Land Rover Discovery III suspension is very weak as for a car of this class, and in our realities it has to be sorted out on average once every 60–80,000 km. Most often, the stabilizer struts and silent blocks of the front levers fail, replacement once at 40–50,000 km, front wheel bearings, change assembly with the steering knuckles, ball joints and steering tips will last a little longer, up to 70–80,000 km. The air suspension requires special attention. It is necessary to check the air billows from cracks in order to prevent the compressor from idling, and with proper care it will last 100–120,000 km. Unlike many cars with a pneumatic system, a repair of the Discovery III suspension is not expensive. Up to 100,000 km, a backlash appears in the steering rack, and if it is not repaired immediately, then over time the rack will have to be replaced, and this is not a cheap pleasure. About 1,500 cu, Land Rover Discovery III has a comfortable feet and excellent visibility. In the interior, the British tried to adhere to minimalism. In some ways they succeeded. Finishing materials and sound insulation of good quality. As a result, extraneous noise in the cabin is very rare. Also, the audio system can be attributed to the advantages, since the majority of owners of premium cars will envy the quality of its sound. Electrical equipment is not particularly reliable. Among the main disadvantages, one can single out failure of the sound signal due to the failure of the ABS sensor, the speedometer ceases to function, arbitrary shutdown of the radio, failure of the Discovery's main off-road feature, the terrain response system. Another everyday problem is the failure of the rear door lock. According to statistics, it breaks on every second car. The biggest drawback of Land Rover Discovery III is electronics. Problems in electronics are divided into two groups: 1. Software failure, 2. Oxidation of wiring contacts. Due to raw software, anything could go away, so the main control units had to be refreshed amount every time the car was serviced. Naturally, with each MOT, the problems became less and less, and over time, almost all the shortcomings were resolved, and those can often be eliminated by a normal system reboot. But with oxidized contacts, everything is more difficult. The main problem areas are the wiring loops of the rear left wheel and the electric cross-axle differential. The loss of communication in the circle is usually accompanied by lowering the body to the middle or lower position and the dashboard flickering like a Christmas tree. Often, the owners blame the loss of contacts in the fog lights and direction indicators. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.